Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me live this evening for the Cancer Coach Talks. It is so great to have each and every one of you here. If you're watching in replay, if you're joining me live tonight, and you haven't quite made it here yet, if you are, however you are finding this, if you're watching it on YouTube, if you're watching it from one of my groups, wherever you're at, thank you so much for joining me. I'm excited about sharing some wisdom with you this evening. And part of that wisdom is from my own journey, which I talk about a lot, that I'm very, very open about and really want to explore what cancer taught me so that maybe you can break through those learning curves a little bit faster than I did. And so that is always my goal here with the Cancer Coach Talks, and just to impart a little bit of wisdom to you guys about what I know about cancer being the ultimate blessing in your life. So we're going to be talking about hacking the fear of cancer returning tonight. Now, this is not going to be a deep dive. That takes cognitive behavioral training to do a deep dive into that. And so we're not going to do that, but I am going to give you some really good tips today. We're going to discover why it happens, why we have such a fear about it, because sometimes when we know why, then it really helps us to demystify a circumstance like this. And then we're going to talk about a few tips about what to do to really start breaking through that barrier and reducing that fear that you might have around reoccurrence of cancer. So let me introduce myself super fast. My name is Leslie Nance. I am the cancer coach, certified holistic nutritionist, certified holistic cancer coach, 7-year cancer survivor, and just really super passionate about sharing wisdom that I have been trained with, but also that I just experienced in my own life. So I'm just going to make sure super fast that not only that we're live, which I can see there are a lot of you here today, but just make sure that we have good audio. So bear with me for just a second. You guys can type in your comments if you want to type a comment and tell us where you're coming in from. That would be awesome. So okay, cool. Fast that if you watch my show enough, you know that I do that every time, because I hate when I get like halfway through and somebody's like, I can't hear you. I'm like, what? No. Hi, Anne-Marie. It's good to see you. Hi, Eugene. Thank you so much for being here. Hi, Juan. Thank you guys for joining live in tonight. I only know that you're here if you leave me a comment. So if you are looking for a shout out or anything like that, just make sure that you drop a comment there in the comment section. This is a big topic tonight, so we're going to jump right in and really get to work this evening. So just a couple of rules of house here. Please, if you have a comment, please type it in the comment section. If you have not already, please share this out with your community. You never know who needs or is looking for this information, or whose life you might be impacting by doing that. Anne-Marie is coming in from Massachusetts. Thank you, Anne-Marie, for being here. But you never know whose life you can change with one simple conversation. Things that people are afraid to talk about. A lot of people are afraid to talk about this stuff. I'm not. So be sure to share out with your community. Super appreciate that when you do. A lot of you already do that, and I am really appreciative of that. Some of you may not even know the people that reach out to me because you've shared. And I'm not at liberty to say most of the time, but thank you for that, for those of you that do that. So no negativity, no berating anybody, no cursing, no anything like that. You will get deleted and blocked from my page if that's the case. I do not put up with nonsense. And so you will learn that very quickly about me. I am a no nonsense kind of girl, and I don't put up with it. So just so you know, if you're coming in here with any malicious thoughts or feelings, then you need to direct them elsewhere and not here in this group. So, all right, so here we go. So reoccurrence. I'm just going to say something and I'm going to be really blunt about it. And you're going to be like, I can't believe she just said that. But it's the truth. And it's the truth that not everybody is willing to accept. But if you have cancer or have had cancer at some point in your life, there is a chance that it's going to come back. And everybody's like, what? There is a chance that cancer is going to, hi, Terrence, it's good to see you. There is a chance that cancer is going to reoccur. So that's the first thing you need to face, is that it's a possibility. If you live in a wonderful little world that says, oh, my cancer will never come back, and it can never possibly come back, that's never going to happen to me, then you are living in a false environment. And just because you acknowledge that it can come back, this does not impact your positivity. In fact, it serves you well. What? I know. I always have like these slippery little things that I do to you guys, right? I always have these like little slippery moments where you're like, what? Let me say it again. If you have a healthy fear of cancer, or you're at least acknowledging that it's a possibility that it can come back, that is actually living in an anti-cancer environment. That is actually promoting an anti-cancer attitude in your mind, because it's always keeping you on your toes. If you never forget that one thing, if I had cancer, it's possible that it could come back, then you're going to do better. You're going to pay attention. You're going to make sure that you're feeding your body correctly. You're going to make sure that you're getting your scans routinely. You're going to make sure that if you have a symptom, you talk to your doctor. You're not going to ignore warning signs anymore. Do you guys catch what I'm throwing down? Did anybody just have a light bulb moment? This is called a reframe. This is called taking a fear and reframing it into something that works for you as opposed to against you. And it's very, very powerful. Right? If you have an unhealthy fear of reoccurrence, then you might have things that would hinder your survivorship. It's possible that it's disrupting your daily life. It's possible that it's lessening your quality of life. For some people, it shows up, right? For some people, it shows up in a way like a fear that hinders the quality of life might show up in you're afraid to eat anything. You won't eat anything because you think everything is going to kill you. That is an unhealthy fear. When it disrupts your quality of life, then you have a problem. If you're constantly looking over your shoulder, if you are always thinking, oh my God, my shoulder hurts. Oh my gosh, it's probably cancer. Oh my gosh, but not really. It was just because you worked out your shoulder extra hard. Right? Oh, my abs hurt. I wonder why my abs hurt. Well, you did 60 crunches this morning. So your abs are going to hurt. But everything you think is cancer. That is an unhealthy fear. A healthy fear is one that keeps you proactive. A healthy fear is one that keeps you on your toes. A healthy fear is one where you never forget the power of mind, body, and spirit to keep you safe and to lessen your chances of cancer returning. Make sense? So 70% of the people who have cancer report that they have a fear that affects the quality of their life and sometimes their survivorship, unfortunately, because they've manifested it. Their fear, the thing you fear the most is going to come upon you. Everybody's heard that, right? There's some truth in that. We manifest these things to happen to us. I have to tell you, I have feared breast cancer my entire freaking life. Cancer has terrified me my entire, not anymore, but leading up to my diagnosis, it was the thing that in prison, Because I'm not going to do anything to get thrown in prison. I can prevent that. Cancer seems like that thing that I can't prevent. And I was genuinely, about a year before I was diagnosed, I had a dream. It was so deep in my subconscious. I was so afraid of it that I had a dream that I had to tell my parents that their only child, not just their only daughter, but that their only child had cancer. About a year, almost exactly a year prior to my diagnosis, I had that dream. And I woke up in a panic. And what I didn't know then is that cancer was already brewing in my body. It was not large enough to be detected at that point, but it was already brewing. And so 70% of people report having a fear that is unhealthy surrounding cancer returning, a cancer reoccurrence, whatever you want to call it. So what happens? Why is this? Why does this happen? Because before cancer, you didn't go around thinking, I wonder if I'm going to get, I wonder if I'm going to live or die today. I wonder if I'm going to get some horrible disease today that's going to kill me. You didn't do that. You weren't constantly looking over your shoulder, but cancer has this crazy way of doing this to us. We're always looking over our shoulder. Most of us never feared death until we were diagnosed. We were never faced with our mortality until we were diagnosed, unless there was another life event of some kind. So why does this happen? Cancer is a threat, not only to your life, but most people fear it more. Most people don't fear death. They fear that cancer is going to interrupt their way of life, their quality of life, interrupt the things that they like to do, interrupt the things that they've worked their whole lives for. People that have really prosperous careers and get smacked between the eyes with cancer and have to fall out of that career, the thing that they've been working their entire life for. People that have grandchildren, where they raise children, their children are adults, their children have children, and they fear that their way of life is going to be disrupted, that they're not going to get to see their grandchildren, that they're not going to get to follow through with their career, they're not going to get to finish their education, that they're not going to ever get to see the ocean again or see it at all, that they're not going to get to travel, that they're not going to get to retire, they're not going to get to do all the things that they and their spouse had planned. And it disrupts our way of life. And that is one of the biggest things that we fear. The other thing that we fear is loss and pain. And when I'm talking about loss, I'm talking about losing a breast, losing hair, losing eyelashes, losing health. Those are the types of losses that I'm talking, losing life, losing mobility, being mutilated, being sick all the time, looking like a sick person. Those are the types of losses that I'm talking about. And so this is a big thing that people deal with, right? Hey, Marcy, it's good to see you. So the other thing is pain, that they're going to be in pain, that they're going to be in, again, be a sick person all the time, and that they're always going to feel sick, and that there's going to be pain involved, and that cancer is going to get so bad that nothing's going to be able to help the pain, and they're going to die slow and miserably. That is a huge fear for a lot of people. A fear of reoccurrence comes with the lovely thought of, I can't do it all again. Most of you have been through hi, Mary. Most of you have been through, and Eugene, I said hi to you, but I don't think you were actually in the room at the time, but I did say hi to you. You can see in replay. And I didn't say hi to Terrence, but hi, Terrence. It's good to see you. Sorry, I get deep down into my discussions and I lose track of saying hi to people. But most of you have been through arduous journeys, long journeys where you did chemo, months and months of chemo, and you had surgery and you had to go through radiation or anything like that. Just the diagnosis, just going through that again. And when you have a reoccurrence, the fear leading into that is, I cannot do this all again. I can't possibly do this again. How am I going to find the strength to do this again? So that's a huge fear. Another reason that we fear it is because we have evidence. This is a tough one. We find out somebody has cancer. We find out that somebody dies of cancer. And sometimes it's the same type of cancer that we have. We find out that somebody else has had a reoccurrence. They have the same type of cancer that we have. Holy H, what do you do now? And that fear just covers you like a horribly stimulant, not like a wet blanket, but like a stimulant blanket that is just vibrating your entire being. And you can't see past it. Right? Sometimes the numbers are stacked against you. Sometimes your reoccurrence rates are super, super high. Sometimes the likelihood of your cancer reoccurring is a big number. And so you automatically assume that one day it's going to come back. And you fear that day. Every little lump and bump, every little thing that happens to you, every time you feel a little tired, every time you have a little pain, every time your stomach is upset, every time you get constipated, every time you have diarrhea, anytime you get the flu, anytime your brain isn't working just perfectly, or your eyesight's a little wonky, or you sneeze like 10 times in a row, you're like, holy cow, the cancer's back. Because the numbers are stacked against you. The statistics say that your cancer is probably going to come back. That was me. They were pretty certain that my cancer was going to come back. And I knew that it was a likelihood. So I had to do everything I could to keep that from happening. That's what I've been doing for 7 years, and I plan on to keep on going. But sometimes the numbers are stacked against you. Sometimes you have a fear of reoccurrence because you have a test coming up, right? You have a test that's pending. You have to have a PSA, or you have to do some blood work, or they're going to test tumor markers, or they're going to do a CAT scan or a PET scan or an MRI. And that causes a whole big bundle of fear to like well up in you. And if you have not watched the video on scanxiety, make sure that if you're on this page that you go check that out, because it is a very powerful discussion about having fear around scans. The tests are scary. This is scary. These are scary times. And so it draws up all of these feelings that, holy crap, my cancer could come back. So what do we do about it? How do you battle this? Does anybody feel like that's like a never-ending battle? Like it just won't go away? Like you cannot get rid of it? I felt that way for a while. I'll be honest with you. Probably my first year to year and a half, man, just hearing the doctors, where I can still hear my doctor say, if you don't do everything we're telling you to do, it's going to come back, and it's going to come back bad, and it's going to be all over your body, and there's not going to be anything we can do about it. That was my doctor's words. I can hear them saying it. That stimulates a lot of fear in a person. But I had to rise above, not be ignorant of it, that it could happen, but rise above that talk, rise above that likelihood, and make my truth something else. So what do we do about it? Number one, don't be ashamed of it. It's okay. It's normal. If I could hug you right now and give you a big squeeze and tell you it's okay, it's totally normal for you to have this fear. Don't be ashamed of it. You must acknowledge the fear. If you do not acknowledge the fear, it will fester in you like a zit. And it will fester and fester and fester and fester until possibly one day it pops open. Isn't that disgusting? That's disgusting what I just said. But until it pops open and manifests itself. You do not want that. But so you need to acknowledge what it is that you're truly afraid of. What is the big fear? What's the thing that scares you the most? Because chances are it's not just about cancer coming back. It's about all the things that lead into cancer coming back and what you must face in that battle. Because I will tell you, a reoccurrence is not a death sentence. A lot of people think, well, if it comes back again, you're screwed. Do you know that I have people that I work with that have had cancer 2, 3, 4, even 5 times, and they are still alive and well on this planet? You live in a powerful vessel, and it's your doubt in your vessel that is really wreaking havoc on your fear factor. So you need to acknowledge the fear. You need to know why you're scared. You need to feel the feelings that surround that. Make it real. You know, it's like when you're a kid and you're afraid of the boogeyman and you're afraid of monsters underneath your bed, right? And the only reason that you were afraid of them is because they were untouchable and unseeable. But then one day your mom comes in and she's like, honey, that is not a monster. That's the teddy bear that you lost like a year and a half ago, the teddy bear that you used to love. She pulls it out from underneath the bed and the monster's gone. Just like that. So you need to feel the feelings around that, but you also need to acknowledge that it exists. And you also need to understand that feeling the fear is not the opposite of staying positive. Because I think a lot of people really feel like, I really think that a lot of people feel like that if they feel the fear, if they acknowledge fear, if they say, I'm afraid, that they're not living in positivity. But that is actually complete opposite. If you acknowledge the fear, then you're allowing yourself to live in a more positive light, in a better understanding of what is happening to you so that you can solve the problem. Make sense? Got it? Okay. So number 2, know your triggers. This is so important. This is so important. I tell you every single time that I talk to a client and they are walking in fear, like something like they're fine one week and I talk to them the next week and they are petrified, I know that they have been triggered. And so we start acknowledging, what are your triggers? You must know your triggers. So what are your triggers? Sometimes for people, it's TV. Sometimes you find out somebody that you love has just been diagnosed, or somebody you love or know has had a reoccurrence. Sometimes you learn that somebody has died from their cancer. All of these things can trigger. You have a new symptom that's popped up and you're like, what is this? And it stimulates all kinds of fear, right? I'll tell you a little story about me and what happened. I'm my own best example. And plus I only talk about clients when they give me permission to. So I always use my own stories. But after my first year of diagnosis, my left shoulder, this is my left shoulder. I know it's weird on camera, but it's opposite. But anyway, but my left shoulder, man, it was killing me. I mean, it was hurting all the way from like the bone right here, all the way into my clavicle, just radiating pain. And I was in so much fear that it had spread to my bones. And I Googled it, of course, and, breast cancer and pain in the shoulder. And everything that I Googled said, well, you probably have bone cancer. It's pretty certain that you have bone cancer. And I lived in a load of fear, and I was afraid to tell my doctor because I didn't, I was terrified. And she's like, well, let's check it out. And so finally one day, well, actually I didn't tell my doctor. I was seeing my chiropractor and I told him about this pain. And he's like, well, I think that you have something out of place, and it could be a little nerve damage from the surgery that they did on your breast and in your underarm. So let me do a couple of adjustments and see how we go. And so I did. And after like the third adjustment, all the pain completely went away. So then I told my doctor, she's like, oh yeah. And I could have saved myself so much heartache by just having this conversation right up front with my doctor, but I was too scared to do it. I was too scared about what she was going to say because I kept thinking I can't go through all this again. or I'm gonna, it's really bad. And she said, yeah, so we did the surgery, and you get lymph nodes removed. It can cause some pain in your deltoid here, and then up in your shoulder bone. And did it go over to your clavicle in that area? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, yeah, it's totally normal. What? I could have saved myself so much trouble if I had just said something to her, but I let it go on for like 2 or 3 weeks before I saw my chiropractor. And then finally, after he kind of fixed the problem, went on to talk to my doctor about it. So, but I had a new symptom, and it scared me. It was terrifying. I was terrified, right? And so sometimes it's because your trigger might be that you have scans coming up. Just really paying attention and being aware of what your triggers are is really important. Sometimes it can be a cancerversary. So maybe it's your first year cancer free, and you're feeling like, oh, my luck is running out. I've been cancer free for a year. I wonder if I can go another year. And so sometimes even a celebration feels like an oppression in some ways. But just having an awareness about what your triggers might be can help you cope as they come along, is, I guess, my point there. Well, I don't guess it's my point. It is my point there. So number 3, I'm running out of time, so I'm trying to hurry. Keeping fear from controlling you. So just let me tell you that you have not failed if fear is controlling you. If your fear is completely out of control, you have not failed. Look me right in the eyes right now. Right now, look me right in the eyes. You have not failed if you have a fear of your cancer coming back. You certainly have not failed if you need to reach out to somebody for some professional help. I think a lot of people walk in this bubble that if they have to hire somebody to help them, that they have failed somehow. This is not true. It just means that you're willing to work really hard to fix the problem. It is really hard. And sometimes it's really hard to cope. And sometimes you need somebody to help you along that pathway. There's actually a study out for behavioral sciences that has proven that people that have cancer and fear a reoccurrence, that they have found a dramatic increase, in survival and an improvement of quality of life for those people who have found somebody to help them. What? That's amazing. This is why I do what I do. This is why I work 70 hours a week, working with people one-on-one to help them through this. Because I know what I went through. And I know the power in understanding how to make these emotions work for you instead of against you. And how powerful it is in my own example of keeping cancer far, far away from me. I acknowledge that I have a high reoccurrence. It's still 30% after 5 years. It was 70 when I started. It's still 30% is really high in the medical world. And I acknowledge that it's there, but I let it empower me as opposed to jail me. So there you go. Those are my super high level tips for dealing with this fear. I hope that some of you have an amazing breakthrough just through this conversation tonight. If you are watching this and you need more and you're thinking, well, that's all great, but I need some more help. I need to really understand what is happening to me, or I need some professional help. and you resonate with me, you're watching my videos and you're having moments where you're like, man, that makes a lot of sense. Man, she's right. Oh man, if that is happening, then it is time to make a phone call. It is absolutely free to do that. I offer this. It's like a, what do they call? It's like an altar call at the end of church, where they say, if you have, come up, if you need prayer, come to the altar. The same thing. Make an altar call. I'm not making fun, by the way. I think that's funny, but right? Making an altar call. If this is you and you need help, there are some of my clients right now in this room. And if you need help, I am here to help you. The first call is absolutely free. We have a discussion. Are we right for one another? Can I help you? I ask a ton of questions. It's usually like a 45-minute to an hour phone call. I ask a ton of questions. Can I indeed help you? Can I help significantly transform you into a cancer boss? If not, I'm going to send you away with some resources. I'm going to tell you where you should be getting help. I'm going to point you in the right direction. Although I find most of the time I can help most people, but there is some few circumstances that I can't help. But I'm super honest about that. Sometimes I think you're on a great path. Terrence is a great example of this. Terrence was on a great path, and I said, you're doing great. Keep going. Right? So it is called a breakthrough call. It is absolutely free. I'm going to leave you a link in the comments right now. It is no strings attached. Just make sure that you answer your phone. Please, 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 please do not make an appointment if you know you're not going to show up, because you are taking up time from somebody who truly needs my help, who wants the help, who wants to make a change in their life. So please, if you're thinking, I don't know, maybe, maybe not, please do not take up one of my appointment times. I'm booked almost a month out right now. Like my first phone call isn't for 3 weeks from now. So when you look at my schedule, you're not going to get a call for almost 2 to 3 weeks from now. But please, because I'm so backlogged, please do not take up a space if you know you're not going to show up. You're taking away a space from somebody who truly needs it, right? You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm going to take some time and read some of I'm just going to type this in real quick, and then I'm going to read some of your comments. So hold on just a second. There we go. All right. So I dropped the link in there so you guys can go check that out. You can just click on that link. It'll take you to my personal calendar, and you can book an appointment straight from there. Did I spell it right? Okay, good. All right, so let's take some questions. Let's take some comments. I'm going to give you a few minutes to type in. Linda is saying, hi, Linda. It's good to see you. Linda is saying, great topic. Thank you. You are very, very welcome. Thank you for being here tonight. It's good to see you. Anne-Marie is saying, thank you. This has been helpful. Love it. Love it, Anne-Marie. Thank you so much. Oh, I love that picture of you and Chris on the beach. That's so awesome. Thank you for being here, right? Yeah, and Emery's also saying tests or triggers for her. Yeah, and Terrence is saying scans are always trigger for me, but only until I stop worrying about it, which I eventually do, and just keep going. I love it. Thank you so much for your honesty, Terrence. We appreciate that. You guys are so awesome. I love you guys so much. Okay, that one's too big for me. I'll read that one later, Terrence. Terrence is like my book commenter. He writes an entire book. So there you go. Thank you so much. I love it. Mary is saying, don't let cancer boss you around. That's right. You be the boss, right? You be the boss. I love it. Yeah. Okay. Eugene is saying, yes, I'm here. Good to see you guys. James is agreeing with an amen. I love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you guys so much for being here. Marcy is also agreeing, saying so true. Thank you guys for your comments tonight. Okay, so I have a question here. Let's get to that. What type of therapist do you think would work? Do you think one that deals specifically with cancer and post-traumatic stress syndrome? I am a full believer, Susan, in mind, body, and emotion. I know a lot of people say spirit. So I believe that we work in 3 bodies. We always are existing in 3 bodies all the time. One is our physical body, of course, one is our emotional body, and one is our spiritual body. And our physical body does, has the responsibility of dealing with our nutrition, of course, of really you're welcome, Linda. Of really taking care of us, of really fortifying our healthy cellular activity, and really helping cancer to bugger off. Our emotional body is going to deal with our mind, and so where our mind is aligned with healing, we begin to heal. And so, but if our mind is not aligned with that healing, then we make it impossible to heal. I don't care if you're eating the best diet on the planet. I don't care if you are eating the most anti-cancer food on the planet. If you do not align your mindset, you will not heal. Bottom line, I've seen it 1,000 times over. I've helped thousands of people through their cancer journey. And those who do not align their mindset, which are with my clients, are a few, very few and far between, because mindset is a big part that we do. And then a third of that is the spiritual body. And, spirituality means a lot to a lot of people. What I'm talking about is your personal spirituality, how you relate to what your body is asking you for, what your body is telling you, what your sixth sense is telling you. Is your sixth sense telling you that you're okay? Or is your sixth sense telling you that you're out of balance? Which all relates to our outer spiritual world, which is our belief system and how we connect to the universe, to God, to whatever it is that you serve. For me, I'm a Christian, so for me, it's God. But helping you understand all of those connections and how those three bodies align, because I will tell you, and we're going to talk about this in a week and coming up in a Cancer Coach Talk very soon, but life out of balance is the quickest and straightest path to disease. Bottom line. Let me say it again. Life out of balance is the quickest and the straightest line to disease. And so, although counseling is great, if you're not aligning those other two bodies that go along with that, then you're still going to be out of balance. So this is why I focus on mind, body, and soul. This is why I focus on all three of those bodies, so that we are really aligning and unblocking healing pathways. So if you want to talk more about that, click on the link that I put in. The call is absolutely free. We can have a bigger discussion about that. And if I can't help you, I will point you in the right direction. But it's most likely, from your question, I think that I can help you. I've dealt with post-traumatic stress. You should watch the interview with my husband and I. We did a couple of weeks ago. We're making out at the beginning of it. It's a joke, by the way. But he talks about his post-traumatic stress, surviving my cancer, basically. So yeah, so great question. Thank you so much for sharing that and asking that question. Yeah. Linda's saying, please discuss fear a lot. I do discuss fear a lot. There are tons of trainings. If you go to my YouTube channel at Go2Kitchens, you'll see tons of those, right? It's true, Anne-Marie. Absolutely. Anne-Marie is saying being positive and spiritual helps a lot. Absolutely. Yeah. And you guys, thank you, Eugene. Yes. Mindset, positivity. It's one thing to be positive, but if you don't believe it, if you're just going around going, I got this, but inside you're going, I don't got this, you can't really fake it till you make it. And the problem there is not that you're not strong enough to be positive. The problem is that you don't have enough confidence in your journey and in your body's ability to defeat that self-talk that you have. Confidence is everything. Confidence is absolutely everything when it comes to defeating cancer and keeping cancer away. Yeah. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Thank you so much for joining this evening, you guys. You're welcome, Susan. Thank you, guys. I am out of here. I'm already like 15 minutes past. I got new sheets and I'm trying to get them on my bed tonight. So, right? Best comment ever. Thank you, Linda. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Leslie Nance. I am the cancer coach, certified holistic nutritionist, certified holistic cancer coach. And I come here every Tuesday teaching these lessons at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. So that's 8 p.m. Eastern Time and 5 p.m. Pacific. So make sure that you follow the page, Any Stage Cancer Nutrition. If you're watching here on YouTube, then please click on over to Facebook. We'll leave a link for you, and make sure that you're following our page, Any Stage Cancer Nutrition. Thank you guys so much for being here. I will, there you go. I love it. I love it. Thank you for saying that, Terrence. You're such a, hi, Leanne. It's good to see you. You're welcome. Thank you guys so much for your sweet words. It means the world to me for you guys to join me every Tuesday night. I will be back next week. We'll have a really awesome topic again, and I look forward to it. I always look forward to Tuesday night spending time with you guys. So have a great weekend. Check out the emails. Make sure that you're getting the emails. If you're not, figure out how to get on that list so that you can get these amazing, it's like a recap of these videos, and then it gives you some links to do some other things. So make sure that you're getting that information as well. And you guys have an extraordinary evening. And whatever you do, whatever you take away from this talk tonight, just remember one thing: cancer is not your destiny. All right. Love you guys. See you next Tuesday. Bye, everybody. Bye.